Yo, what's going on, guys? Today's video is actually inspired from a tweet that I saw on the timeline, and it's about a topic that has been bothering me for years at this point. And this tweet was in response to someone talking about Arcane, and he said it was a mistake, and someone replied saying, is this like meant to be malicious? And then he replied saying, how is this homophobia? I hate seeing characters lore ruined because they're being shipped regardless if it's a straight, gay, bi, trans, etc. couple. People did this with Victor and Jace and got mad over Jinx and Echo from Arcane. Not everything needs to be sexualized. I'm all for everyone being represented and having someone that represents them, but some people take it too far and it's annoying. And that got me thinking because this is a problem that exists in so many different fandoms and it bothers me, bro. It is so annoying. Like, if you don't know what shipping is, well, one, you're lucky, but two, it's basically just when it's simply people like saying, oh, these characters would be great together, and it can apply for any sort of relationship. And a lot of the times whenever people do that, it'll be pretty obvious, like within the show, but then there are other times where it's definitely not as obvious or not implied at all, and people kind of have to like grasp at dialogues and things and some usually at straws, but a lot of the time the dialogue will be pretty obvious. And this is something that it can be fun. It can actually be really funny sometimes. But the version I'm talking about and the version that this tweet is talking about is when it gets really annoying, because how it affects certain characters in the story. It could be stuff that has nothing to do with the story, like, at all. Like, if you're familiar with My Hero, you know about this problem. This problem with two of the main characters, Deku and Bakugo, that's like one of the most annoying thing, bro. If you were there for the Twitter outrage whenever the author finally confirmed that him and his main interest, let's say Gravity Girl, they finally got together at the end, and oh my god, the Twitter outrage that day was hilarious. But it's like it encapsulated the problem, because people will like project this headcanon. That's what it is. It's a headcanon. They'll project this headcanon onto whatever story they're reading, and then when it doesn't go their way, they'll get mad about it. They'll like curse the author. Like, guys, this was never even supposed to happen in the first place. Like, it's it applies to so many different like shows and games, and it is so annoying. Like, a similar thing can be said in if you played Persona 5 with the main character Takechi. While it's very obvious through Joker's dialogue that or your dialogue that they're obviously very close, and they're meant to be very close because they're meant to be like best friends and all that. But like, some people just take it way too far, and it is very annoying. Um, like, the art is fire. I'm not even gonna lie to you, the art is fire. 9 times out of 10, artists cook. But when these people are trying to like make discourse on the timeline about it, chalk it. It is so annoying and aggravating, because a lot of the time people blow stuff out of like way out of proportion, and to the point where a lot of it just does not make sense at all. And it's like you sit there and reading it, you're like, what am I even supposed to do with this information, bro? What do I even do here? And it's just it gets to a point where it gets like really weird. And then there'll be the same people that'll do it for like characters that are meant to be like way younger, and the characters are way older. Like, bro, What are we doing here? It's kind of weird. Like, oh my god. There's like countless examples of this being done that I've seen like recently on my timeline. It's so bad, bro. It's so bad. Like, I guess that just goes into like this sort of issue just goes to like a more overarching issue of like parasocial relationships and stuff like that. And like those are just not healthy for you at all. Like this is something I definitely want to talk like more in detail about, but like those like parasocial relationships, stan culture, stuff like that. That is not help. Like I know anyone watching this video, I know you've seen those people, like the stan accounts on Twitter or Instagram. Like those people genuinely need help. They need help. Like, this is not healthy. And when it comes to shipping, it's just as bad, if not worse. Because then you'll also have the like all the fan fictions and stuff, which I me personally I am not against people making fan fiction at all. I'm not against it. It's not my thing, but yeah, I'm not against it at all. However, however, when people use these sort of headcanons to make stuff like that, it becomes really really weird in my opinion. Like especially when people do it with like two guy characters that are like they're very obviously just friends. They'd be like we can't have friends anymore, bro. We can't have friends anymore. Like like I said, like the tweet said actually, I don't mind. I'm all down for representation. But I guess it's a certain point, like they're very obviously just friends, right? And you could be like, oh, but that's not what that friends and those are weird sorts of friends. They're doing that. So like, come on, guys, you're dragging it. You are dragging it. Um, it's just like there's so many characters that you could think of. Like we already mentioned the Deku Bakugo thing. I mentioned the Joker Akechi thing. Those two are like those like the main two that are like that I've seen that are just like extremely annoying. Uh, and there's also the main character Yosuke from 4. That one usually isn't as annoying, and a lot of the art of it is actually pretty fire. But that one's also funny just because the way Yosuke is in the game, just very funny. But honestly, those are probably like the main ones that I see out and about. But I guess that those with the guys, but then with the girl, like I feel like for some reason a lot of the time with the girls, it'll make like a lot more sense. I don't know why, but I don't think I've ever seen one where it's like with the girls where it's like no, that doesn't make any sense at all. It's just weird. Um, yeah, I can't really think of one like that. I remember when people were I mean, I think no, I don't see it as much anymore. But when that the episode of Toga and Gravity Girl came, this weird. This has come back to My Hero like twice. I think there's they we need to investigate that fan base, man. We need to do some sort of serious investigation on that fan base because this is ridiculous. But as I was saying, that when that episode of Toga and Uraraka finally got animated, there were people like I think I saw it for like a week straight. There were just people just trying to straight up deny the fact that like they're interested in each other. Like, bro, the the signs could not be any more obvious, bro. And then it got to a point where people were trying to like deny that Toga was like not even into girls like at all when there's like multiple panels where I'm pretty sure the author just straight up states that she's bi, and then there's other panels where she's like uh what was it? It was she was defending what's his name twice, I think. It was defending twice like you're not gonna call them that. If you do it again, I'm gonna kill you. Like, guys, some like I think this problem mainly boils down to the fact that some people just cannot like read between the lines. And I think that's a skill that a lot of people just do not have. That unless something is like very obviously laid out for them, they can't like read the subtext of certain situations, and it leads to a lot of like unnecessary discourse. I'd say because a lot of it can be stopped for the fact that if you just read, is like, oh yeah, like I think that of like media literacy in itself is just like for some reason recently, maybe not even like the last like 3 or 4 years even, media literacy has become like a rare commodity for some reason, and I don't understand why. It is it is such a like to see someone like on like your timeline or like in a video actually understand the game that they're talking about and then you've maybe played, like it's like the most refreshing thing ever because there's so many people that have just not not played it, which is not a bad thing. The bad thing is the people that have played it and are purposefully misunderstanding it, or played or watched it and they're purposefully misunderstanding what's going on. Like that I don't that honestly might be like one of my worst pet peeves is someone like playing, watching, reading something and just purposefully misunderstanding parts of the media. It's like why at that point why did you even read it? Like, and it's one thing if it's something that someone might be a little bit confused about and someone else can just simply explain to them, like that is completely fine. That's kind of what media is about, being able to understand different nuances and explain nuances to people that might not understand them. But when you're reading something and like purposefully misinterpreting what's going on, it gets to the point where it's like why did you even read it? Like, did you just go in to read it just to like hate? Like, what's the big deal? That I've seen that has happened with I mainly see that happen with Attack on Titan. That's the main like perpetrator behind that. It's like people, I don't know, like to this day people are still like misunderstanding like the ending. It's like, guys, come on. Come on. Um but that kind of all of that kind of ties into how this sort of community, the shipping community, if you will, is just it's really just not good. Uh, I mean, like I said, there are some with the context of the story that they make like perfect sense, and I'd see it and be like, oh yeah, for sure. But there's others where it's just like you're definitely just projecting, and this is a headcanon, and you need to chill. You need to chill. That's a that's another thing that that really bothers me is that people will take headcanons, and if you don't know what a headcanon is, it just things that you basically things that you make up for the story that makes sense to you. Maybe that's not the best description, but you you know what I mean. It's like like let's say something happens and it's like something happens in the story and then you say to yourself, oh, they probably did this because XYZ. And if that thing that you said like in your head isn't what actually is the reason, that's a headcanon. So headcanons are a lot of the time, I've definitely seen plenty of headcanons that actually make a lot of sense. Uh but then it's the ones that are just they're just nonsense. They make no sense at all. Like what are we doing here? Like you're just saying it to say it. It's just like that isn't. I don't even think the author would have thought of that. I don't even think the author thought of that. It's that is probably another one of the main contributors to this problem is that a lot of people's headcanons just suck. And I know that comes down to, oh, opinions can't be wrong. Like, yes, opinions can't be wrong to an extent. Like I've seen plenty on the timeline or in group chats where like, guys, this is just a wrong opinion. Like, we can't have this around here, bro. Not at all. Um, and that is one of probably the main reasons why that stuff sucks. And like, that's not to say it's all bad. Like I said, there's some out there that are very good and make a lot of sense. Like both even as headcanon and within the story. Like it makes perfect sense. Like I said, this has been bothering me for years at this point because there's been so many like shows I've watched, games I've played, excuse me, mangas that I've read, where people take this to like the extremes, and it's like, are we even reading? Like, are we even consuming the same media at that point? It's really, like I've said multiple times, I find it very annoying, especially when it just does not make any sense. And even with the ones that sort of make sense, it gets to a point where it's like, can people just not have friends? Like, people just cannot be like in good relationships with their friends, and it's a it's a very weird situation, and like I've said, I don't mind it, especially the ones that make sense. I actually support some of the ones that make a lot of sense. Like I find it can be fun. It can be very fun, especially when they make sense. Cause the art, bro, the like in every situation, most times the artists are just gonna cook, and the artist in this situation, they cook. Uh, but what gets annoying is mainly just like the all the discourse that surrounds it, as it usually does. Discourse tends to almost always be very annoying in any situation, especially when it's not healthy discourse. Like it's just a slander fest back and forth, not just like healthy discussions about something. Uh, and it usually ends up being that way just because the nature of how Twitter is, and I guess to an extent other sites as well. But it's that I think that is more an overall arcing problem, or an overarching problem with just the internet in general, because a bit of a tidbit at the end. I think that I think the internet over the pandemic years has definitely gotten to be a lot more negative, and I've seen multiple different takes on it, and I personally agree with the take that I agree with the take that because we spent so long not being able to have like face to face interactions, it's led people to be like a lot more mean and hateful, and I completely agree with that, and I see it every single day. It is so obvious the fact that not actually talking to other human beings has just made people a lot more like evil. And another contributing factor is that this absolute bonehead has taken over Twitter. So that that wraps it up for me. Shipping in general, like I said, when it makes sense, it's peak. When it doesn't make sense, the discourse gets weird and it's very annoying, and it just ruins, well, maybe not ruins, but it messes with the lore of a lot of different characters. And that's why I say just read. Just read. But that's it for me today. I will be seeing all of you guys tomorrow.